So, another day in baseball world. Two big transactions have happened. For those of you who do not know, here are the two transactions. Madison Bumgarner has agreed to sign a 5-year, $85 million contract with the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's number one. And number two is the Texas Rangers have acquired Corey Kluber from the Cleveland Indians for two Major League players. Now, before I get to the details, I just want to say thank you to my constant, supporters, folks that watch my videos all the time. You guys are the best. I really appreciate it. I'm going to continue putting out new videos every other day for you guys and gals. Secondly, if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And please click the notification as well so that you not only have access to the dozens of videos that I have out already, but you'll know anytime I post a new video, and that's every other day. I have done team-by-team breakdowns of every Major League Baseball team for this offseason, and they're talking about what I think they should do versus what I think they'll likely do. I've done MLB free agent predictions. I've done contract predictions. I've done Houston Astros cheating scandal video. I've done another one on a recommended punishment. I've done a boatload of other videos as well. So if you're a baseball fan, this channel right here is for you. So please click that subscribe button and the notification next to it, and I think you'll enjoy a lot of the videos. And thank you. And if you happen to have a channel of your own, let me know after you subscribe in the comments, and I'll make it a point to give you a shout out so that people know about you and your channel as well. It's my way of saying thank you for your support, and I want to do the same in return for you. Now, by the way, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but my name is Jason. I don't know if I've ever formally introduced myself. My name's Jason. I'm from New York. I am a Yankees fan, but I do like to keep my videos realistic and unbiased as possible. And you'll see in my videos, I did not think the Yankees were going to get Gerrit Cole in either one of my MLB free agent predictions video. That was a surprise to me. I try to keep as realistic as possible. I'm not one of these fans who does these ridiculous, let's rip off all the teams that the Yankees can have everybody. I try to keep it as realistic as possible, and you'll see a lot of my viewers say that, so which I'm grateful for. Yeah. So, why don't we head over to the office now? Right? And let's talk about this. What happened? Let's get the clipboard. The clipboard's up. The good stuff is up. I'm going to get my trusty pointer here, and we'll get to it. Okay? So, the first thing, like I mentioned, the Texas Rangers have acquired starting pitcher Corey Kluber from Cleveland. Now, I want to talk about how this has ramifications, not only for the team that's trading and team that's acquiring and team that's signing, but how it affects other teams as well in both leagues, because it does, in my opinion. Okay, so they've acquired Corey Kluber for Delino DeShields Jr., who's an outfielder on the Major League roster, and Emmanuel Clase. I think that's how you pronounce it. Clase, who's a relief pitcher on the Major League roster as well. So they got a pitcher and an outfielder in return. Tells me a few things. Number one, tells me that they probably realized they weren't going to get much of a bigger package for Corey Kluber, particularly since he's coming off an injury and he's a little bit older. But it also tells me that I think it could be one in the precursor of moves for the Cleveland Indians, and I'll talk about that. But what it tells me about the Texas Rangers is that it tells me that they're going for it in the American League West. Okay, remember that they signed Kyle Gibson and Jordan Lyles this offseason, the last 2 weeks, basically. 2 starting pitchers. They already have Mike Minor. Now they've added Corey Kluber. So they've gone from 1 legitimate starting pitcher to 4 in the span of 2 weeks. To me, that says they're going for it. Now, they have to still be competitive with the Houston Astros, who are going to be competitive, and the Oakland A's, who are going to be very competitive as well. But the fact is, we really don't know what's going to happen with the Houston Astros right now, with the scandal that's going on, what type of punishment, whether it's going to be effective, come into effect in 2020, and suspension. We don't know. So it's kind of going to be up in the air. With regards to the Oakland A's, I think they're really close to the Houston Astros. If you look at my Oakland A's video, I put a trade recommendation on there for them. And if they make that trade, I think they'll be the clear-cut favorites on top of the Astros, or ahead of the Astros for the American League West. But that said, I think the Rangers have just put themselves in the mix and made it a 3-team race with these moves. Do I think they're done? No. They could essentially use Mike Minor now in a trade to address another position like third base, since they did not sign Anthony Rendon. I know they were talking to Josh Donaldson. I don't know if they're in or out, but I know they talked to the Yankees last year about Miguel Andujar. That could be a trade to revisit. Again, do hard for Mike Minor. Could be part of a bigger trade thing or whatever. Who knows? It's just a thought. And if they bring in a free agent, then they keep Minor and they have a legitimate starting four. And they have some younger guys that are in the mix towards the back end that are on the verge of coming up. So this gives them a lot more versatility and a lot more depth in the rotation. So they've gotten a hell of a lot better in the last 2 weeks. And I don't think they're done yet. But is this a precursor to the Lindor trade? That's what I'm asking myself. And I'm asking you guys as well and gals. Does this a precursor to a Lindor trade and the potential other trade, a Mike Clevenger trade? Now, this is how I have it in my thought process. I think that, or I feel that if the Cleveland Indians decided early on that they were not going to trade Francisco Lindor, then I don't think they were going to trade anybody. But now that they've traded Corey Kluber, I think they're going to be motivated to move Francisco Lindor. And at that point, if they move Kluber and Lindor, and they'll get a boatload of prospects back for Lindor, I just don't see that it makes sense for them to keep Mike Clevenger. Keep an ace-level pitcher on a mediocre team. If you're going to do the tear-down, do the whole thing. Just for Lindor and Clevenger alone, they could revamp pretty much most of their roster and revamp their farm system. It will address multiple positions in 2 trades. So if they have the opportunity to do both, they do both. What if they packaged Clevenger and Lindor and sent them to the Dodgers? Could you imagine the type of package that they would get in return? The Dodgers could use another starter as well, and they could definitely use Francisco Lindor to be their leadoff hitter / shortstop, and he's definitely a Hollywood guy. I think he would be perfect in Los Angeles Dodgers. What if they packaged him together for a blockbuster? If they didn't, what if the San Diego Padres, who are also trying to compete in the National League West, put a package of prospects together for Mike Clevenger? They have the #1 farm in baseball, the Padres. They could do a number of trades. If they trade for somebody like Clevenger, man, that's legit. And keep in mind, the Dodgers, they missed out on all the big guys. So, and I'll go over that a little bit more down below, but they're going to be motivated, I think, to make some moves. Okay, so let's talk about that now. Okay, let's go move to the NL West now. So, the Arizona Diamondbacks, like I said, they agreed to sign Madison Bumgarner to a 5-year deal for $85 million, $15 million of which is deferred. I really don't know how it's deferred. I'm not sure if the specifics are out yet, but 15 of the 85 is deferred after the 5 years. So it's essentially 5 years, $70 million which is a $14 million a year average. So to me, they're adding to Robbie Ray, who's a starting pitcher that they were talking about trading to other teams, but I guess they couldn't extract enough of a return package. And now, at this point, I don't see the point of trading Robbie Ray and replacing with Madison Bumgarner is going to cost more. What's the point of doing that? You add to him, and this formulates a legitimate 1-2 punch to kind of put yourselves in a position to be more competitive with the Dodgers and the Padres and so on. So that's just my opinion. They've leapfrogged the San Francisco Giants now, and they've also kept Bumgarner away from those other NL West teams. So that's what my opinion with that is. But on the back end here, I think it increases the urgency and the motivation for the Dodgers to make a trade for somebody like a Lindor. Because they really haven't made any moves aside from bringing in Blake Trina for the bullpen this offseason. I do think the urgency has just increased now for them to bring in a Lindor and potentially a reliever on the back end now as well. Since the only they've got Rio who they could re-sign, they may or may not. If they do, great, but I still think they need to add another reliever on the back end as well. So it could be somebody like Dylan Betances, so they could use some of their prospects and players to get somebody like a Josh Hader from the Brewers or Tim Hill from the Kansas City Royals or something like that, or just bringing Betances as a free agent for a couple of years to complement. I know he's coming back from injury, but you add him to Kenley Jansen and some of these other guys, you've got a formidable bullpen. Especially now with Kershaw kind of starting his decline, I think it's a good idea to not only bring in another starting pitcher or re-sign Rio, or potentially add another pitcher on top of Rio, but boost the bullpen as well. But I do think the major motivation right now is going to be for the Dodgers to bring in Francisco Lindor. And Cleveland can extract a boatload for Francisco Lindor. And I do think, like I said, if Cleveland gets Lindor, they trade Lindor, I think it just makes more sense for them to trade Clevenger as well. It doesn't make sense to keep an ace on a mediocre team. If you're doing if you're going to do a tear down, do the whole thing. Tear the whole thing down. So that's just my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think about this. I love your feedback. If you have any insight and comments, just put them in the comments down below. If you like this video, if you enjoyed it, please click the like button. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. The more likes my videos get and the more subscribers my channel gets, then the more YouTube starts to share it and recommend it. And my goal is to share it with as many baseball fans as possible. We are the folks that pack the stadiums, buy the merchandise, spend hundreds of dollars at games, subscribe to the MLB Network and watch it on TV. And, and we get a lot of our data from, the analysts and the experts on TV. So I put this channel together for the diehard fans. We put on our GM hats. And I think it's good for us to have a dialogue and have a voice as well. So I hope you enjoy these videos, and I'm going to keep putting them out for you guys and gals. So let me know what you think. If you have suggestions on any type of video that you'd like for me to put together, put them in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to do so. All right? So again, I hope you enjoyed this. Happy holidays, and I will talk to you next time.